things just don't feel like they used to. These are some symptoms of depression, a serious medical condition affecting over 20 million Americans. While the cause is unknown, depression may be related to an imbalance of natural chemicals between nerve cells in the brain. Prescription Zoloft works to correct this imbalance. Zoloft. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
What we don't know is we don't know how the medications actually work in the brain. So whereas it's not uncommon, and I still do this actually, when patients ask me about these medications, I'll often say something like, well, the way Zoloft works is it increases the levels of serotonin in your brain, in your synapses, the neurons. And presumably the reason you're depressed or anxious is that you have some sort of a deficiency. And I say that not because I really believe it, because I know that the evidence isn't really there for us to understand the mechanism. I think I say that because patients want to know something, and they want to know that we as physicians have some basic understanding of what we're doing when we're prescribing medications. And they certainly don't want to hear that a psychiatrist essentially has no idea how these medications work.
I want to thank everyone for this invitation to this distinguished panel. I'm very happy to be here. So for my one PowerPoint slide, I wanted to broaden out a little bit and talk about the upstream influences that lead to antidepressant prescribing in the first place. Many of the other panelists have mentioned in our conversations that frequently a patient will show up who's been on SSRI for years and is pregnant, and now is the first time for the conversation, which is almost too late in some cases at least, and presents real dilemmas. So I wanted to talk about the upstream forces causing and at least contributing to that antidepressant prescribing, which is often 5, 10, 15 years before that conversation with the OBGYN. This is an image from a 2005 PLoS Medicine article that Jonathan Liu and I published about the chemical imbalance theory of depression, the serotonin deficiency theory of depression, which has been marketed by industry for a very, very long time, definitely since the introduction of Prozac, perhaps before, marketed directly to physicians for a very long time, and marketed directly to the American public through the direct-to-consumer advertisements, the Zoloft ad being the most famous one, being one of the most successful advertising campaigns in the direct-to-consumer advertising realm. In fact, 15, 18 years after it last aired, Saturday Night Live ran a recent parody that looks like a parody of a Zoloft commercial that's from almost 20 years ago. And that's the degree to which this bioreductionistic theory that depression, anxiety, PTSD come from a deficiency of a neurotransmitter, and that an antidepressant such as an SSRI will correct that chemical imbalance. That's the degree to which that story continues to be pervasive in our society. But Adam used the word disruption of the serotonergic system, and all the effects may be interpreted as positive in many instances. That's probably a more accurate term for what the SSRIs actually do. Now, these advertisements you don't see anymore, and perhaps FDA deserves some credit. From between 2007 to 2009, they disappeared. I don't know that we can put the serotonergic toothpaste back in the tube. I don't doubt that in university clinics or in elite practice scenarios that patients are not being told this story. But I teach MSW students, young women, and every single semester I'm waiting for the semester actually where someone doesn't raise their hand and say, I started an SSRI based on this theory, which I was told was a fact by my physician. And it was very recent. In fact, I've noted no change in the last 20 years in the prevalence of people reporting this story. And I wonder if this was just my own anecdotal experience. Just completed, it's an unpublished research project, but data collection is complete. And we did a survey of 1,100 Americans with quota sampling for about 10 different demographics, pretty nationally representative survey. True or false, depression can be caused by an imbalance of neurotransmitters in the brain, such as serotonin or dopamine. Antidepressant drugs, such as Prozac or Zoloft, help correct these imbalances. 88% say yes as of last May. Of the women of childbearing age, 18 to 44, who were diagnosed or treated for depression, 48% were told by their provider that a chemical imbalance was one of the explanations for their problems. In that same group, 63% were offered meds, 43% offered therapy, 40% lifestyle changes. Now, these are self-reports. More research is needed. Always replications are good. But the reputation of these drugs, the social reputation of these drugs as normalizing agents, akin to giving vitamin C in a case of scurvy, basically, is essentially a promotional message that our entire society has adopted. And that conceptually raises the impression of positive efficacy, and it also perhaps minimizes the recognition of adverse effects, because a normalizing agent shouldn't cause adverse effects, right? The Royal College of Psychiatrists in the UK has issued a statement about the chemical imbalance theory. It's not perfect, but it certainly has some humility to it and is something to look at. The American Psychiatric Association has been mostly absent from this conversation. I think FDA could partner with NIH or related partner agencies to remedy this information problem, which has not been solved and remains a pervasive issue.